Okay.
Okay, well, thanks.
I like the clip at the end there, Rose.
I had a bit of inspiration this morning, and it really is a beautiful day. So I grabbed my camera and my gimbal, and I dashed out to the Radcliffe Centre to go and enjoy it, and just maybe give the students a sense of, you know, what Buckingham is like. Yeah, Alex, I guess what we'll do now is have a look at some of the questions that are coming through. I see we have.
So we've had a first one. Sorry, yeah, we've had a first one come through from Manoli, who asks, many corporates have started adapting lean startup approaches and techniques to seed and accelerate product innovations. Are you incorporating this into your program?
Yeah, thanks very much for that question. And it's a great question. In fact, John, I think you asked me that question the other day. Have we got enough of that in the program? So it's certainly on our mind. And in the final module, we have dedicated some of the lectures to lean startup principles as well as agile principles, and looking at faster learning cycles. In particular, those that can benefit new companies, entrepreneurs, people who are starting businesses for the first time, but also existing businesses. We believe those principles that you can learn from Lean Startup, and Eric Ries, I think you pronounce his name, Ries's book. There's some pretty useful stuff there that can apply in all cases, in all industries. Thanks very much for that question.
Yeah, well, by the way, good to see you again, Manoli. So I haven't been in touch for some time, but anyway.
Great. We've also had a question through from Ben, who says, for the site visits, is there any potential to group these together as a study mission to make it feasible for international students to attend?
Nice question as well. So is that Ben Powell or Ben Hazaeus who's asked the question?
Hazaeus.
Hazaeus. Welcome, Ben Hazaeus. I have not seen you since Cape Town. So it's lovely to have you in the room. Thanks for joining us. Hope your dad as well. So yeah, that's a really great question. And part of the, you know, the thinking behind the design was, how could we make this more accessible for international students? We have a lot of international students who have been asking. They're quite keen to join us. And as a result, what we've done is, of course, in the first few months, we have removed the intensity of having to fly out for every single module, which is what used to be the case. And we will be grouping the host site activities into sessions later in the year to make it a little easier for international people to fly out for those activities and be a part of it for whatever it is, whether it's 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. So it won't be running for a few weeks, Ben. It probably would be at most a week at a time, because I think that's also sort of the limit of what people can cope with in terms of their schedules and what they can take in a week. But I really am trying hard to make it more accessible to people like yourself that are keen to fly out and would like to reduce the cost of doing so. I'm looking at some other creative options as well. I mean, there's a lot of chatter about, you know, virtual Gemba walks and things like that. And there's pros and cons. You know, the pros of it means we could put GoPros on our heads and we could walk around sites, and then we could invite international students to attend in that way. There is a bit of a loss of the nuances. You know, you don't see as much at the Gemba as you would if you were there in person. But we are actually exploring stuff like that, which might be of value to international students. So if I see that we've got a healthy proportion of people who would need to fly in, I would influence the design to accommodate that. In a way, I might be using some agile principles and some of the design and innovation product development principles in terms of looking at what feedback we're getting from students and then adjusting the program along the way to suit without messing with people's schedules, just to be responsive to the needs of the students as well. So hopefully that answers Ben's question.
Yeah, so, you know, historically, we've always adjusted the program to the students' own requirements. So a lot of the modules are held at student sites and so on, and that's very likely to continue.
So John has got a new conservatory being built in the background. That's why you're hearing a bit of banging. But at least he will have a nice sunroom to sit in the next few weeks. Alex, do we have any more questions?
We do. Benjamin Powell has asked, what does the successful application to the course look like, and how many spaces are there available on the course?
Yeah, also good question. So look, I'm hoping to keep the group size to a particular sizing. You know, what makes the most sense for this kind of program is, you know, between sort of 15 and 25 applicants. However, we do seem to have quite a healthy interest in the program. And if it goes higher than that, I might need to split the program up into 2 different groups. So I'm going to see what the level of interest is, see what the commitment is, and then take it from there. But we do also need to have a large enough group to be able to get the peer learning working. So I feel that that's quite important. In terms of the candidates, the application, what we look for in a student is we do have minimum requirements. For example, we would expect you to have you know, first-class degree plus 5 years of working experience. We do look at other candidates on a case-by-case basis, dependent on having an interview with them. So not to say that we completely disregard people who don't meet those requirements, but we are quite strict, and we do need to see other evidence that would lead us to believe this would be a great candidate for the program. So those are the basics of it. Yeah, I think that pretty much answers Ben's question. Thanks for that, Ben.
Lovely. And Adam Marsland has asked, what differentiates this course from the more traditional black belt / master black belt qualifications?
Yeah, so that's great. I mean, we've got quite a few students who've either already achieved their you know, green belt or black belt qualification, or are busy working towards it. So we are used to having, you know, students of that caliber joining us. There are elements of the program that lend itself more to, you know, the problem-solving activities that we engage in. So under scientific thinking, of course, we're going to be teaching problem-solving techniques. I'm even going to be drawing on some of the Six Sigma aspects there. There's no harm in, you know, using a few aspects of Six Sigma and theory of constraints and other principles in terms of what we learn. So yeah, I mean, the program itself does not teach a black belt, but you'll see that there'll be some nice correlation with perhaps what you're learning as a black belt student.
Yeah, so, you know, historically, the program has not been detailed tool-based instruction. So a lot of time, for example, on Six Sigma statistics and so on, a lot of that has been up to the students' own activities, but also to bring the discussion together, I think, is the way that it's worked. I apologize for the noise here. So
it's just like you're doing a presentation in a workshop or in a factory environment. It actually feels quite right for this webinar. But what differentiates this program? I believe, first of all, we've really had to put some fresh thought into what we're covering. Meaning we understand that our challenges have changed. We do have some of the old challenges, some of the stuff that we're used to dealing with in organizations, we're still dealing with that. But we do believe that there are new challenges on our doorstep. And as a result, we want to help prepare the lean leaders for the future to deal with new challenges and perhaps unknown challenges, perhaps challenges that we've not either thought of before or that were not as obvious before. So I do think that's what differentiates the program. Another part of it is the fact that we're putting a dedicated module on green thinking. I mean, I don't know how many of you, I said to Ben Powell this week, it's worthwhile getting your hands on some of the books around green and lean thinking. And I see Bill Gates has just launched his new book, which I started reading. And it's, I must say, I started reading it this week. And it shocked me a bit, some of the stuff that he's talking about in the first 2 chapters. If it doesn't shock you into action, I don't know what will. So, you know, we're quite proud of the fact that we're bringing in that thinking into the program as well, that we can no longer just look at our own processes or our own departments, or our own manufacturing or our own service or our own hospitals in what we're doing. We do need to think broader in terms of our goal as to what is impacting society as well and what role we can play to improve those things. So I believe those are the types of things that differentiate it. And you'll notice a big difference between this program and previous programs or other programs is that we really are actively putting time and effort into how do we become the change. So we're putting a strong focus on the leadership behaviors, routines, activities that need to take place in order to get your team to work towards change and to help them to learn. You know, a big part of this is going to be developing learning systems. We talk about the thinking people system, not just the Toyota production system. And there are some very important aspects of creating learning systems that will take you much further as a lean leader than just learning some tools and hoping for the best.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and we've had a question through from Steve Wood. He's asking, if we've previously completed the MSc in Lean Enterprise, will there be enough new content to warrant the new challenge?
Wow.
What do you think, John?
You know, Steve, I think the program is pretty different. So I don't know about you taking I'm encouraged by your question there, but there is a lot of there's a lot of new material. I don't know how to really advise you on that, but except to say that there's plenty new and exciting material. Mind you, that always has happened in the area of lean. There's there's always new things. So should really do the MSc every couple of years just to keep up to date, sort of thing. I mean, I need to do that really. So
you'll notice on John's email signature, he says that he is still learning lean after all these years. So that's also encouraging, I find. We are all still learners, and you'll see, Steve, the design of this program has been quite deliberate in that we're preserving some of the principles that have been around for a long time, and then we are bringing forward some new thinking that we believe lean leaders need to be aware of. So I think if you were attending the Lean Enterprise, you would have really developed a rich learning experience from that. You would have been equipped with a lot of things that you could use to make change in your organization take place. But now this is basically, we're trying to take it to a new level. We've got to refresh things, and we've got to keep up with the changes, not only from a learner point of view, because we are learning differently. We're not all wanting to sit for months on end in lectures. We need a variety of ways of learning, and I feel that we need to bring that into this program. And in addition to that, you're going to see some new faces. So there are some new people that we're bringing in because we want more perspectives. And the interesting part is many of us won't agree. Some of us will even disagree with each other. And we don't see that as a bad thing. We see that as a good thing. So I do think you're going to see quite a bit of new stuff happening in this program, and it's deliberately so.
Fantastic. And then we've had two questions from Vladimir. So first one is, when will the next enrollment date after May 2021 be? And then also on the website for the Lean Enterprise program, the admissions criteria states that we'll allow second-class academic degrees. Is this unchanged for the Lean Leadership program?
Right. So for the new program, we have got their first class, but as I said, if you are able to show us your experiences and what you've got in mind, we are absolutely going to look at you. So please do feel free to apply, even if you don't perfectly match the application requirements, because that is quite normal. And we do believe that there are some very talented people out there with some very impressive potential that we also want to take into account. So please do apply, Vladimir, if that is your case. In terms of the date, most likely the next date will be May 2022, most likely. I'm saying most likely because, you know, this program has shifted to May. The previous program was January, and most programs are September. So I have the flexibility to start the next one in May of next year. But there is a chance there would be a shift in that date. But if you would allow me to confirm that for you a little bit close to the time, but most likely it will be May 2022. Maybe I just want to add to Vladimir's question, as well as Ben Powell's question, that what do you look for in a candidate? We're also quite interested in people who are leading a team. It doesn't have to be a large team. It doesn't have to be a very senior team. You could be leading a team on the line. You could be leading a department, a function. You could be leading a whole company. And the way in which we've structured this program is it's able to be of value for all of those levels of leadership. So I really do encourage you that if you have a team that you are working with, that is also quite a nice aspect or criteria that I'm looking at. You know, who are you leading? What does your team look like? What are you trying to achieve? And that would be part of the interview. Okay, thanks, Alex.
Lovely. We've had a couple of comments come through, which I'll just read out as well. Michael Birdhouse has said, Lean starts with quality. See LinkedIn posts.
Yeah.
I know Rose does lots on LinkedIn, so I'm sure you'll be seeing lots of quality on her LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
And then Neil Hutton has said, to follow up on a previous person's question regarding content versus another MSc, I have 4 black belts and 20 years experience in continuous improvement across lots of industries, including banking. And then he asks, would this course be worthwhile for me? I don't intend in my circa 10 years of working life left to be a departmental leader again.
Okay. So perhaps the question I should ask is, do you want to learn something new? You've done a lot. You know, you've got four black belts, 20 years of experience, and you've got sector exposure, which is really great. So clearly you've got some really good experience behind the belt. But I do wonder if somebody like John, with his experience and how much he's published and how well respected he is, if he can still call himself a learner, then I would say to anybody, you would learn something new on this program. So I know that probably sounds a bit presumptuous, but I'm that confident that, you know, if you come in to learn something new, you absolutely will. So I would welcome somebody like you. I really would.
Yeah. And there's also a question from Michelle. Yeah, okay, well, good to see you again, Michelle. So I know you've been very strongly involved in quality. So in fact, there isn't a specific quality module, but although there's quality really goes through the majority of modules. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a sorry, I should have also commented on that. Thanks, John. It's Michelle Bathurst, isn't it, from Swarovski, I think. And I see you on LinkedIn quite a bit, and you've been very supportive. So thank you for that. I do believe quality is absolutely key. So, you know, how else do we stabilize our processes? How else do we offer customer satisfaction without having a strong focus on our quality? So I absolutely agree that that's something that needs to be at the foreground, and we will teach it right up front. So yeah, we maybe haven't got a module there that says this is quality, but there's going to be a very strong theme of it in at least the first 3 modules, in fact.
And just to follow up from Neil, he's popped another question on here. Can you give any examples of past research questions and how they're developed? It's been almost 30 years since I was at university, so I'm a bit rusty on research aspects like this.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question, because I also sometimes feel like I'm rusty on that. I've been starting to look at some of the past dissertations from our previous students, and you know, the research questions have been quite broad, but bear in mind, we've also got a change in this program. You know, historically in the program, we would do a dissertation, whereas you could see in this one, I've specifically called it a thesis, a work-based project. So the research question is still, of course, important, but it may be less academic. You know, maybe we're not only looking for contributions or new contributions to academia. We're also looking to see what is the problem in your organization that you wish to solve. And some people have been tackling questions around, interestingly enough, diversity. We had one dissertation on diversity in the organization, and she conducted her research on that. She's actually, I think she might be here. Here she is. Very interesting topic. And I've actually asked her to speak in the program as well and to give insights to the other students. But some were working on disruption and technology. You know, the range of research questions we've had has been quite broad. So John, maybe you can also comment on this because you've probably seen more of the previous projects than I have.
Well, the
range.
The range of projects has been huge. So we've had about 300 odd graduates on the program, and really they've you name it, they've done it, sort of thing by now. It's but I think one of the nice things is that people can select their own area pretty well. So there's a bit of discussion that takes place between the student and the potential supervisors or the course director and so on as to the area. But generally it works out pretty well. So yeah, and you know, with all these new areas, there's so much scope. We mentioned about AI and working from home, and lean is green, and agile, and leadership, and health, and so on. All of these areas have been looked at in the past, but this is just an opening, exploding area. So endless opportunity there.
I'm really hoping that we get some students who are willing to put the time into green thinking as well. We just don't have enough examples, I believe, on that topic. So I'm of course hopeful that there'll be interest there as well. And I've got a really good guy who's working with me and will be doing some of the lecturing for the students on sustainability. He's done his PhD in sustainability. And with a bit of luck, if I can find the budget, I would love to create a research center here where we're looking at lean and green together, and we really start taking that upper level. I see we've got a few healthcare people here. That is interesting for me also. John, when the first poll came up, we had 3 healthcare people. There might even be more now that a few others have joined. And I think maybe what I should do is I should be quite upfront with you that John and I have been talking a lot about healthcare in the past sort of half year to 3/4 of the last year. And this program, the way it's been designed, it's going to be suitable to apply in a variety of sectors, whether it's manufacturing, service, or healthcare specific. But I want to be upfront with you that next year we're also developing a lean in healthcare program. So it's going to be based on the same principles that we're using here, but we're going to be bringing in different speakers. That would be one of the main differences that you see. And obviously the research that we're offering would look different. But I'm very encouraged to see healthcare here because I'm personally dedicated to lean in healthcare. I've been at it for about 10 or 12 years myself. John has engagements now where he's assisting in healthcare. And of course, we believe in that. So I just wanted to let you from healthcare know that that's very much on our list of things that we're looking at.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a couple of last questions. I'm aware we've only got a few minutes to go. We promise we won't run over. But just building on the question that came through a few minutes ago about the research side of things, Sandeep Batra has asked, could you please shed some more light on year 2, i.e. the thesis? How are the interactions planned between the student and the institution? What exactly is meant by 42 hours of contact time and 588 hours of guidance/independent?
Yeah, thanks, Sandeep. And Sandeep, I do think we did see each other in a webinar the other day. So it's nice to see you. So yes, 42 hours, it's obviously quite a bit less than what you would have gone through in the first year. And those 42 hours would be broken up into either combined sessions with other students where we do interactive sessions, where you'll do workshops and you'll learn your approaches and your methods and your techniques. So we do have a series of workshops planned. I need to put the schedule together so you can actually see, Sandeep. It's actually on my list of things to get finished. And then in addition to that, there would be individual supervisory sessions. So you would have one-on-one sessions in addition to that with your supervisor, where you could get direct support. And so it'll be a combination of individual, interactive, direct supervisory support sessions split up over those 42 hours. Sandeep, if you like, what I'll make sure is that those who would like it, if you'd like us to send you more information, I'll provide you with a handbook which will give a bit better breakdown of those hours. But yeah, those sessions could be personal, where you would need to be present, or they could be on Teams meetings, on virtual meetings like this. Just if you could just check, does that answer your question, Sandeep? Does that give you a slightly better picture as to how those 42 hours are used?
Well, I'll just pop those last couple of questions to you while Sandy has a think on what you've just said, Rose, and perhaps pops either a follow-up question or a confirmation into the chat. So Ben Powell has asked the last couple of questions. He asks, outside of site visits, are contact hours, lectures and live sessions set within UK working hours, so that people would need to be flexible with their employer regarding full-time working? And sort of following on from that, he says, or asks, is there an expectation for our employers to allow us to share information and details of the projects we're working on? Would they need to sign off on work being done?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks very much, Ben. So the first thing, is it on UK time? So anything that's live, any live sessions that we organize, so either that would be a live session with a guest speaker or on-site visits, then of course those would be on UK time. But the virtual learning is in your own time, provided you just do it at a regular cadence. And what I mean by that is you would be provided with some online lectures, which we would expect you to complete in certain weeks of the month, but you could decide if you wanted to do that at 12 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, you would have that flexibility. So we're trying to build in a bit of flexibility into the learning time. The second thing about sharing information, it's a great question. And we have had sessions, for example, in the dissertation with those students where some students would feel more comfortable if they were sort of in one-on-one sessions. For example, if there was a lot of confidential information from the company, or if some of the elements of the project are secretive, then we would need to approach it slightly differently. So we could certainly set up different ways in which the presentations would take place and the one-on-one sessions could take place. So, so we would just need to know whether or not that was an issue from the students. We do find a lot of our students enjoy the peer learning. So those who are able to share, but those who need to keep things confidential, we do make a plan for that. In terms of sign-off, yes, please. We would like the company to, at least know what project you are proposing. And for the person that you report to, it is ideal if they give their support to what you've chosen as well. So yes, a sign-off as such. Okay.
That's great. And Sandeep has confirmed he's very happy with your response, Rose. So thank you. He'll look forward to getting further details in due course. So just to sign off, right on the button of coming up to 1 o'clock. Thank you everyone for joining us. You'll receive a copy of this recording and contact details for Rose and how to make applications by email from us tomorrow. But obviously, please get in touch if you've got questions, if you've got queries. We're more than happy to hear from you. But thank you ever so much for giving us your time this morning. And a big thank you to Rose and John for delivering such a great webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Very welcome. Thanks.
Great to see you again.
Take care, everybody. See you soon.